Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. You have arrived to the conversation that'll end all conversations. The Soul Cast with your host, Woody Wood. And now, without further ado, let's get in that crazy head. Here's your host, Woody Wood.
Yeah. That's what's up.
I like that track. I like that track.
Yeah, man, that's crazy too, because like I was telling you earlier, we already started this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to let you know that this is a new podcast, and I'm going to say this the first go around. I'm not going to repeat it every show, but this is good. It's going to contain adult content, and we're going to talk about stuff, and we might use little words that you might not want to have the kids listen to, so be advised.
Woody love the kids.
Woody love the kids. No, but we were talking about that track earlier, and yeah, I wrote that a couple of years ago, and Morgan helped me with it, and then it just turned out to be right for the show. So I'm really excited. Today, my guest is Coco Rubio.
Buenos dias.
See. Now, I know I've known you for a while. We friendly, and we've done a lot of business together, and they call you the local musician's friend.
Oh, that's nice. That's the ultimate compliment. No, that's great. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're the local musician's friend, and better friend we couldn't have. Now,
thank you.
I wanted to start with, the timing, because whenever you had the skate shop on 8th Street, and then you found the
you're going way back to the skate shop, Ray Gun,
right? And then you also you taught, didn't you? You taught Spanish for a while.
I taught Spanish, Evans High School, from 90 to 95.
Right on.
And during that time, my brother DDA and Jeff Thomas and Brian Brownlee had Ray Gun down on 8th Street, which was a skateboard shop, little coffee house in the back.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people used to hang out down there too.
Yeah, it was really kind of, it was cool, and it kind of brought people downtown, and
at that time there wasn't nothing down here.
There wasn't really.
It was like a ghost town. I mean, during the day there was, the businesses had a few businesses down here, but for the most part there weren't much nightlife. You had Joe's Underground, you had Fox's Lair.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
And so I was teaching during that time at Evans, but in '95, I was gonna go. I took a year. I was gonna take a year off, and
you were gonna get your master's though.
Right? Work on that. Yeah, I was gonna try to go to school and go back and teach. with a master's degree, make more money with the master's degree. Right. It's actually a nice jump. And but that's when we saw the building on 984 Broad Street, and that's where the Soul Bar is. And Historic Augusta owned the building, and we talked to them, and it was a really just good deal, cheap rent to get it with an option to buy the building. So we did that, and it was almost like it brought what we had at Ray Gun onto Broad Street, and then what we had going on at Squeaky's Tip Top. Which was our bar.
Yeah. You used to DJ there.
Yeah, we used to.
It would be so packed that it would be sweaty, messy
so
people.
Small, Yeah, but that was late '80s, early '90s, and so it kind of brought Squeaky's and Ray Gun together, and to me that kind of was the Soul Bar vibe,
Right.
And it was really cool when we did that, and it kind of kicked off, I think, like the revitalization of downtown Augusta entertainment,
right.
And after us, Nacho Mama's opened up.
Did you know Matt personally before he opened up?
Oh yeah, we've been friends, for years, before that and stuff. And we've always just, we would sit around and talk, and it's like, man, we need to, be nice if Augusta had something like how it is in other towns, because we would be going to Athens to see shows, hanging out, and it's like, man, why can't we do this in Augusta? It'd be cool if we could do it. So we kind of decided just to kind of quit talking about it, and maybe we can do something, So we kind of decided, let's go all in, and we got the Soul Bar building. They got Nacho Mama's a couple doors down, and we opened up in October of '95, and they opened up, just like January of '96, So, and then it just kind of fed off each other, and it was kind of nice to see people coming downtown at night that just it was deserted, before, and. After that, pizza joint.
Yeah.
Michael and Roscoe opened up down the street.
Well, I'm definitely glad that y'all didn't just keep talking. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk,
Yeah,
and rarely do people walk. So I appreciate that y'all did that. And also the concept for the Soul Bar and the concept for Nacho Mama's, genius. I'm telling you, it's just genius, right? I eat probably about 7-8 times a week at Nachos just because I just love going there.
Well, you know, that was from our, you know, going up to Athens a lot. There was a place we used to go to called Frijoleros. And Frijoleros, you would go up and order, and they'd make you a burrito.
Back when Athens was non-corporate.
You know, yeah, it was. You know, there wasn't
right.
like it is. There's a lot of corporate places, businesses downtown. The taco stand, the other place. You know, so you had taco stand and Frijoleros. We'd go there a lot. You know, and so Barry and Matt, they kind of knew. You know, because they were more foodies. They were into the food industry.
Yeah.
Like, man, we could do this, and it would be good. You know, we need this in Augusta, and for us, it was like, you know, we need a place where, you know, we could bring just. Play different, you know, all kinds of music and have a good atmosphere, but it was really, we wanted to honor James Brown, the godfather of soul.
Exactly.
We thought Augusta, Georgia needed, you know, a soul bar, you know, so we said, let's call this the Soul Bar, and, you know, kind of do it how Squeaky's was, you know, but also the vibe from Ray Gun, and just kind of mix it up, play all kinds of music. And
so did the historic committee say that you had to leave the storefront the way that it was, or did you choose to do that?
We decided to leave it. I mean, there are some things you have to do, you know, we can't add anything, you know, really to that. But we kind of wanted to keep the original storefront and just keep it. And
I think it had a drop ceiling in it whenever you first saw it.
It did. It was a pawn shop, and we took the drop ceiling out and exposed the roof, the ceiling, you know, which is that tin ceiling,
which is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's when we knew. We were like, wow, we need to completely gut it out, you know, and expose the high 20-foot ceilings, you know, and it has the skylights up there, and those were covered, and we have lights inside them. You know, that's the red lights that blow up top,
and it makes for a crazy sound in there too.
It's interesting how it sounds, and we've always, you know, it sounds good, you know, and even when we have bands there, you know, it's kind of a different, unique setup. But it sounds good. I think it's the wood floors, the high ceilings, you know.
And then the stage being set up where it's bouncing off that wall.
It's great.
I've been there a few nights where it's just been like people's crawling up the walls because it's just like it sounds so good in there. I saw what was it, Afro Man, the Afro Man show. It was a crazy show.
Yeah.
And I think he sold the double deuces, the Colt 45.
Yeah. I don't know if we still do, but I know we used to. And 40s.
They were holding them up.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, speaking of good shows, I know that you did the Disco Hell. You started that over at Squeaky's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, did Disco Hell give you the idea for 80s Night?
Kind of, sort of. You know, Disco Hell for me at when I did it at Squeaky's, and you know, it was playing a lot of old funk, old disco, old hip hop, but I would always play some new music, but as long as it was dance, and it was like you were at the disco, you know, dancing to dance music.
Right,
was really the thing. It didn't have to be just 70s music, you know. But I had a friend, Tom Huffstetler, we call him T Huff, and he was funny because he, you know, he was like, you should do an 80s night, you know, and just play, you know, different stuff from the 80s, but he really liked stuff like New Order and you know, and said that, you know, the Smiths, you know, some stuff
instead of the dancey stuff,
you know, instead of the more poppy, more that, you know, which because that's what we liked in college, and you know, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, we like that music a lot, and the younger generation, it's like they were born, you know, that's the decade they remember music, you know. I mean, I remember music from the 70s as my first memory because I was born in 67. I'm 46 years old. But I think that, you know, the when I started doing 80s night, it just clicked with the people in their 20s, because that was like their that's the music they remember first hearing on the radio, you know. And
exactly.
So it was really fun to just, you know, work on a good playlist, you know, of music from the 80s and stuff, and the variety is there, you know, where you can play new wave kind of stuff, also, you know, 80s hip hop, you know, I'll play 80s hair metal, and it all works, you know, when you hear it all together, you know, and it's fun to just mix it up, and a lot of one-hit wonders and those video bands and stuff. So 80s, you know, it's a fun night to spend. I really enjoy doing it, you know, just because there's so much music to play, and we do it on First Friday at Sky City. And it's always, you know, one of the, you know, best nights, you know, of the month, the busiest nights of the month. And then on the second Friday, I do it at Soul Bar, and it's just it's a good night there too. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I think it's a genius concept too, because every time, sometimes, and
I've seen you dancing to the Talking Heads when I play that.
What's funny is like sometimes I'll have a few drinks, ladies and gentlemen, you understand, and I'll get all hype, and I'll go to 80s night, and somebody will drag me out because I'm like, 80s music, whatever, But then whenever I get there, I have so much fucking fun that I'm like, damn. Yeah. I'm gonna dance on this here bench and hope it don't break. And
I've seen you. Yeah.
Well, usually it's like Woody Wood on the dance floor. And
well, you really get into it when you're dancing, so it's kind of like it's cool to see people.
Well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, yeah, I'm just feeling it.
That's good. And that's it.
Which goes back to what we were talking about. Now, that's why I kind of paid tribute to JB as well, calling this the Soulcast.
Excellent.
Because
that's awesome.
Whenever I was a kid, man. I would finish watching Saturday morning cartoons, and my dad would turn on, Soul Train would come on after that. And so my dad would turn on the stereo, put his vinyl on, and he had tons of vinyl. And he used to listen to, James Brown and Marvin Gaye and all those guys, and Al Green a lot. And he would turn down the volume on the TV, and we'd watch the people dance while we're listening to the vinyl. Awesome. Yeah. And so, like, I fell in love with James Brown at an early age. And I was like, oh my God, how do they do that? I used to ask him, like, because I thought music was magic, and I still do. And and I wanted to know how he did that. Now, a while back we had Dave Chappelle here.
That was a good show. Yeah. I was there. And you were there. That was awesome.
He said, to quote him, he said, Augusta's the whitest place in the world because of the Masters, and it's the blackest place in the world because of James Brown. And I was like, I never thought about that before. That's some crazy stuff.
How true, right?
Yeah,
how true.
Because they did fight on the 9th Street being changed to James Brown. They did fight on the arena getting changed to James Brown.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, it's so weird. I mean, everybody has their faults. But hey, you can't judge a person on just their mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he contributed a lot to the music, I think.
Oh yeah, and as an artist, there's you can't deny the genius of
his impact
of James Brown
is just
worldwide.
It's across the board.
Yeah, universal for sure.
It's like he's like the Bob Marley of soul music. It's like goes everywhere around the world, right?
Yeah.
And
there was no hesitation for us to call it the Soul Bar. That was like that's what we had to do it. We knew, and and even everything behind the bar we try to put up the James Brown memorabilia and stuff, and he came in and we tripped out.
I've heard a couple of stories about him.
He came in several times, but the first time he came in, Keith called and said, hey, Mr. Brown's going to come down, we're going to bring him out, check out the spot.
Right on.
So they pulled up and he came in and he checked it out. He had his crew with him, played some pool, he wanted some champagne.
Oh.
So we had to go down the street and get some champagne and bring him some champagne so he could play pool. He was a good pool player.
Oh, really?
He could break, and he was awesome. I mean, he was running the table. He was a player.
I think he was underestimated by a lot of people.
He was a bad, he was tough. He was really cool. And the people that were there, some of the bartenders were talking to him and just kind of talking music about, some of his stuff and just telling how much, they admired him, respect him, and just I told him, we did this out of complete respect and love, and he said, y'all know what's up. That's what he said. Y'all know what's up.
That's what's up.
And it was so cool, and he kind of was like, kind of gave us his blessing in a way, and he just I think appreciated that we were true fans, and just wanted to honor him in any way, And I'm so glad that James Brown Arena got changed, the James Brown Boulevard and stuff, and because
and the statue,
it's cool.
Although I do think it's awful funny that he's facing Oglethorpe.
Yeah, that's both James, James and James.
So, but
all the bands love to go down there. They went down last night, after sound check. We're going to go down to the James Brown statue.
A lot of them go down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, take the pic with them. Yeah, that's cool.
They have to.
And it's crazy to me, like, when I'm out of town, like, I've been to New Orleans a couple of times during Halloween, for instance, and I'll see a lot of James Browns out there. I'm
wow.
And then, like one time I saw this big purple caddy. It had sparklies all over it. It's going down Bourbon Street, and he's got all 4 windows down, and he is blaring James Brown. And I'm like, that's my hometown, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I love New Orleans. It's one of my favorite cities in the world.
Oh, I got in trouble last time I was there. I got really, really drunk, and I got kicked out of town pretty much.
Wow.
I had to drive 20 hours straight to Albuquerque, New Mexico to get away from it.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a fun city. We went, a little family trip, and had fun. Maya really liked it, and it was good for her to see, just all that.
Yeah.
New Orleans flavor.
How old's Maya now?
She's 15, 9th grade, Davidson.
That's crazy. Time flies.
Dude. She's 15. Yeah.
Mine's 16.
Yeah.
So he's driving and stuff. And I'm like, you're driving where now?
Oh, I know. She's talking about that too. And it's like, what? Okay.
Well, I got him on I-20, right? and we were riding down the road. And I didn't realize after we get off, he did really good. We even pulled over and helped the lady change her tire because it blew out right in front of us.
Yeah, nice.
And so he stopped good and he backed up on the median good. And then when we got off the I-20. We stopped at the first red light and he goes, Dad, I-20. Not so tough. And I was like, it was your first time? He's like, yeah. And I was like, you did good. You wasn't even. I didn't even know.
Cool.
You know? So it's crazy when they grow up like that, though.
Yeah.
Man.
Where does he go to school?
He goes to Thompson.
Okay.
Thompson up there. He's a bulldog. Mm-hmm. He's playing the footballs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
he hunts. He's. I never was a hunter. It's hard for me to kill things and not feel awful about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I shot a squirrel one time and I cried.
You guys, yeah.
I was like, why did I do that? What's wrong with me? And then my neighbor killed a frog one time, and I cried too. I was like, "Wow, what's wrong with you?" I wasn't his friend anymore.
Yeah. But that's cool. Does he do music? Is he more sports and hunting?
He's interested in playing music. He's got a bass that my cousin Judge, that plays lead in my band.
Yeah.
He builds guitars. He's luthier.
Okay.
And he built him a bass.
That's
and
cool.
So he's been learning on it and everything. But right now, 15 years old, and he's a really popular kid, and he's kind of the leader in his group and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's
got a car. And he's driving.
It's kind of like social time now, So sitting in the room and strudging over a bass is probably not the most appealing thing at this particular moment.
That's funny.
But for me, it was different because my parents lived way out in the middle of nowhere, and so whenever they gave me the guitar, I was like, well, I could do this.
You could do this. Yeah. That's cool.
What about you? Whenever you like, I know that we're avid music lovers, and that's what's awesome about anybody that I talk to.
Yeah.
What about music for you? Like, caught you when I'm like, what's the first moment that you can remember that you were like, that's awesome. I want to do that.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting that both my parents have no musical background at all.
Right.
Really. But they put me and my older brother, in piano classes when we were like, kindergarten, and we did that. And I remember there was that interest, when both of us, just music, and it just kind of continued as we were growing up. We took violin lessons and did that in elementary school, and in middle school, I just kind of didn't want to play violin. It wasn't as cool as playing the drums or something.
Yeah.
So I was in the band, in high school, and played the drums and really liked that. And then, in high school, kind of doing the garage band. Get some friends in the garage, and we were doing that. So just kind of always have had that interest, of playing in a band and being in the marching band, just music. Also, when we lived in Germany, because I'm an Army brat, so we lived all over the place, And in Germany is when the whole DJ thing and the seeing DJs kind of rocking the party, and it was like, wow, this is cool too, to me. It's like you can be in a live band, or you can also play good music, and DJ, and that was it. I kind of wanted to, do that.
Yeah.
So,
Now, do you like playing the drums better than spinning, or you like spinning better than playing the drums?
They're both, you know, I like them both. You know, I like both the same.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick your favorite kid.
Because there's something too, you know, especially playing with some friends, and when you're, you know how it is when you're, you know, just jamming with a, you know, in a band and practice room, whatever. But when you get in that groove, you know, people that aren't in bands don't really understand, you know, that feeling that you get when,
especially if you dabble in improv.
Sure.
I mean, especially because you'll have your bad moments, and then you'll have those moments where it's like the light cracked through the dark.
It's all there, and everybody knows, and you kind of, like, this is cool, you know. And then
like I've literally had moments where it feels like full body orgasm on stage. You know, it's like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. You know,
that's that look. Okay, I see what you're doing. That's cool. And then when DJing, you know, when you see, you know, and I always like kind of starting when, you know, there's not that many people there, kind of building it up, getting people to dance and building it up and kind of packing the floor, you know, people getting into it. And that's, you know, it's a good feeling to see, you know, just people having a good time dancing and, you know, kind of controlling the mood, you know. So I like that part of, you know, of DJing, and always have, you know, just playing the right music, you know, trying to.
Now, do you get into the science of it? Because we were talking earlier before we started recording about how I've been studying lately. You know, we were talking about the pop music on the radio and how it's a formula, and not necessarily in a bad way. And, you know, you're talking about frequency and tone and tempo and key and all that, and how it affects the brain, and then the timing. Yeah. And, you know, and so for somebody like us, if we are listening to something, and, you know, if you listen to one song and you're dancing, you're having an awesome time, and then the next one's got to be something like, you know, you can read the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Even with when you're playing with the band, you know, if you don't necessarily have a set list that you keep to, you kind of go with the vibe. So do you kind of get behind the science of DJing like that?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's completely kind of, I'm kind of feeding off the crowd, kind of, you know, and just trying to do that and stuff. I mean, I'm not, you know, some DJs just kind of, they play what they want to play and it's their thing, you know. But I've always been one. It's more like, you know, I'm kind of feeding off the crowd. And
I think that might be the reason that you have some that are more successful than others, but that's just my opinion. And also, I think those guys that are doing like Dead Mouse 5, and those guys are packing out freaking stadiums, man. Like 50,000 people are going to one show, and it's one dude up there spinning records, and he's got a big lighted up mouse head on, and I'm like, holy moly, dude! Like, but it's a huge party, and they love to go and do it, and that's why I think music is so magic, man. And, I mean, have you ever seen an alien spaceship? Like, who sees George Clinton, I think, might be an alien. Prince might be an alien. I'm pretty sure Michael J. was.
Yeah, I think Prince might be, for sure.
I mean, have you seen him? Because I know he's vegan and everything, but he looks like he's 22. And he's
he looks better than ever.
52 or 53, something like that.
We were watching something just recently. It was a clip that someone brought. And I'm trying to think who it was. They're like, you got to see this Prince thing. You got to see this Prince thing. And it was him and his new band, I guess all girl band. And they were doing Let's Go Crazy, but it was like slowed down. And it was rocking hard. It was a good version. I think it's out there. You know, you can look it online and stuff. But it just sounded really good the way he could do that. You know, like take his song, classic song, but just kind of rearrange it. And I mean, it just had a big sound, and he's a badass on the guitar, and you see it on that video. And then when we looked at the other clip when he was on that, I think it was VH1's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or whatever, and the George Harrison thing.
Yes. Oh my God. While my guitar gently weeps.
And then they were all playing, you know, Tom Petty and some other things.
Blows it away.
And then he comes on at the end. And just shreds them all. You know, they're all like looking at him like, holy shit, what's this guy doing?
George Harrison's kids like, what the hell?
And then he would keep on going. And then at the very end, he just takes his guitar and throws it up in the air and walks off. And then his guy comes and catches it. And then Prince just walks off. And it was like the ultimate, like, you know, guitar hero
moment.
You know, just
yeah,
like wow, you know.
That's funny you brought that clip up because every time somebody comes to my house and I have YouTube open on my TV, I'll be like, "You gotta see this clip."
Oh, it's an amazing clip, and so you know, yeah, I mean.
And for years, because I saw it when it originally happened.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
and
I love
and
those
then
shows.
for years I looked for it because I'm not the type to go out and buy, you know, the DVDs.
Well, he doesn't let anything go out on YouTube and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a freak. You can't get any of his videos.
I know it's really
so.
hard. It's really hard. I saw he's got one on Vivo, I think, but it's really hard to find anything else.
There's a good one where he comes out and plays his guitar in Paris, some outdoor stadium. And he comes out and plays with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. They're playing.
Oh, really?
And then he comes out and does a solo. I think she opened up for him.
Oh, dig it.
And you know, but he came out and played with her.
Far out.
And it's a cool video to see.
That's cool. I'll have to look that one up too. And speaking of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings.
Oh yeah, love her.
Yeah, man. They've played. Haven't they played Sky City?
They haven't played Sky City yet. I'm trying to work on that. Last time they came, they played the Imperial.
That's right. I saw that show.
Yeah, and then they also played Westaboo Festival and played outside there at the old Richmond Academy, the old museum there on Telfair Street. And both those shows are awesome. The first time she played was, believe it or not, at the Soul Bar.
That's right.
You know, she played there, and we put 10 people on the stage. And it was one of the baddest shows, you know, that we've ever had.
Now, tell us, speaking of the baddest shows at Soul Bar, what about when Wynton Marsalis came in?
That was another one that was pretty amazing.
And then one night, Pinecone came in, Wyclef Gordon, but I'm pretty sure he probably came in.
He kind of would come in,
regularly.
Yeah, whenever he was in town there for a while, and would always. But yeah, he was the one that brought in Wynton Marsalis because they were doing something at the Imperial with the ballet, and so the Lincoln Center Jazz group that Wyclef is in, that Wynton directs, you know, they came down to do that and stuff. And so after the rehearsal on Wednesday, they came down to Soul Bar because we were, you know, doing our Wednesday night prayer meetings, which were the jazz nights every Wednesday that we used to do, and with Bud Hudson and Eric Kinlaw, and they came in.
That was you didn't even have a stage back then. It was just on the floor.
Yeah, I think they were on the floor, and it was funny because he looked up to where I was up on the, you know, doing the sound, and he said, turn off all the mics. Turn off all the mics. And then they played like acoustically. And it was loud. You know, then they could get soft. And it's like they controlled it completely without any mics.
That's beautiful.
And it was awesome because it was loud because they were playing, you know, they were playing loud.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it was all acoustic. And it was... Yeah, it was mind blowing.
Yeah,
Wynton Marsalis doing that on our jazz night and stuff for sure. That was
I remember. Now, whatever happened to the judge? When the trumpet player that led him for a while?
Oh yeah, Carl Brown.
Yeah,
Carl Brown. Where did he go? He went off to school, and I can't remember where he went and stuff.
He was an amazing trumpet player.
Good trumpet player and good singer. Yeah. The ladies loved Carl Brown. You know, and he worked it. You know, he was good.
LLCB.
Yeah. We had a good run there with live jazz, you know, for a while.
Dude, there was one night, and I have to mention this to you. There was one night that I was there, and I was drinking the Bass directly out of pitcher, you know. It was really cold, you know, and I was with my brother Joe Bone. And he goes, hey, man, I'm going to run around the corner real quick, and left me by myself. And I was standing right by Kinlaw. And we're standing there, and I'm waiting for him to play. You know, I'm really excited. I got a good buzz going on, you know. And next thing I know, I see Wyclef come in the door, put his horn case down, open it up, and I was like, oh, wow, is this happening? You know, because I'd never seen him in there before.
Right.
And he come in, and him and the judge, at one point, I had my eyes closed most of the time because that's kind of how I feel the music for some reason. I don't know. And so I was standing there, and whenever I was standing there was nobody around. Like there was maybe 10 people in the bar.
Yeah.
And then I open my eyes up. I'm almost done with my picture, right? And I look around, and there is a crowd pushing up on me.
That's awesome.
All up against so there, the judge and Wycliffe was going back and forth. Carl and Wycliffe were going back and forth, and they took me up and up and up and up, and literally I felt like I was floating off the ground.
Yeah,
man.
that's cool.
It was crazy.
There is something about the way they play, you know, and man, when Wycliffe plays, people usually, you know, they turn around and look, you know, they notice, you know, they have to, just with the way he plays.
Well, the trombone's so interesting too.
Yeah.
I love that horn.
Yeah,
I love that horn. We were talking about the brass band that you had at Sky City last night.
Yeah.
And how did Sky City come about? How did that opportunity come up to grab Sky City?
Well, we had Soul Bar, so we were doing that. The guys from Mellow Mushroom opened up the Mission.
Right.
And they got the building, and they kind of built it out, and, you know, built the bar, and all the electrical, plumbing, the bathrooms, and they, you know, stage. And they did the Mission for a couple of years, and then they sold it to someone else, and, you know, it just wasn't working for him. He wanted to just get out of it. He didn't want to do the, you know, he didn't realize he had to do, you know, he had another job, and he wanted to do the bar, and it was hard to do both.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, it's like you can't do and then do the bar, and then kind of do your regular job and do the bar. So he just wanted to get rid of it, and we thought that it would be nice to have a bigger venue to, you know, do more live music. And instead of, you know, it just someone else maybe doing it and messing it up, or, you know, because that could reflect on downtown if it didn't work, you know, like, oh, well, downtown's not viable, whatever, to do stuff. So we were like, let's try to get it and try to have a good venue, so, you know, we can kind of keep, you know, the progress in downtown going. And so my brother Jason and I and Eric Kinlaw from the Bee's Knees, you know, we kind of got together and said, let's partner up and open it up. And so we got it. And you know, it's coming on year 6 in June this year, you know, so
that's crazy,
pretty wild,
too.
you know, that we've been able to do it. And we really kept the building as it was, and we just put a new sound system in, and we wanted to have something that, you know, we would be, you know, good to have for a while, and, you know, that we could host, you know, big bands coming through and stuff. So kind of been able to fine tune it, and it sounds good, and most bands come in and they like it, you know, and it's cool, you know, to have a venue that's easy for bands to set up, easy for the people to come see a show, you know, and you know, we just we wanted to have a spot like that, so it's been cool.
It's a nice laid back vibe in there too. It's nice, and I like the way it's kind of set up to where the front bar, and then you got the back bar.
Sure, yeah. If you want to just sit and drink, and, you know, you can sit up front for sure, you know, but then you got a good back room, and then, you know, stuff.
Have you ever thought about doing like acoustic shows up in the front, just like on random nights on week?
Yeah, we have actually, and you know, that would be probably something that the bartenders who are working, if they can handle.